what is at the heart of this issue? Let's put that on table for our viewers, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the invitation. So the main issue, if I may say, is that we had seeing a bureaucratic eraser in terms of defining that hill will not be counted as quote unquote hill in government records and thereafter is I would say is a landmark judgment in that sense, which we haven't seen similar things, especially related to the environmental, amenities and environmental aspects. And because of this, in general, we have a tendency to take anything which is non-usable land, be it non-agriculture, non-forest, as quote unquote wasteland. And in this case, what is going to happen is that if we define something as not hills, they lose their status and therefore they get categorized as wasteland, and wasteland needs to be quote unquote developed for human use. And therefore, as you know, almost close to 90% of Aravalli falls within that 100-meter limit. So that land suddenly becomes quote unquote available for concretized development. And that is something a very, very serious issue. And we know that Aravalli is the main source through is the water recharge in the Delhi NCR and the allied regions happens. So along with water recharge, there are many other benefits, some of which already you have mentioned. So yeah, I would keep my input into this right now.
Okay, let me go across to Divan Singh, sir. One, your opinion on this categorization that has been accepted, and secondly, the Union Minister for Environment is saying that everything is as per the norm and the mining will not happen outside that 0.19. Outside 0.19. That's what he said. Am I audible to you, sir? Okay. Bhavreen,
yeah.
Can you take this question? I think there's a bit of a technical issue with Mr. Singh's line.
Sure. To me, this is the 0.19%. First of all, this game of numbers is always dicey, for between citizens and government, as we've been seeing, within the air pollution. So it's a bit misleading. Even a fraction of mining activity in such a fragile, ancient range like the Aravallis, can cause disproportionate ecological damage. There's no doubt about that, especially to groundwater recharge, wildlife corridors, to various biodiversity loss, and then we are talking about the air pollution which we're all experiencing in this whole Indo-Gangetic plain. So the illegal mining has been acknowledged, and so that itself I think is something to worry about, and something to be that enforcement's unaddressed. I think this is something which is important, that the minister admits that illegal mining is the main problem, yet there is no data on prosecutions, there's no data on mine closures, or any kind of drone monitoring, satellite monitoring, or accountability in general of the state governments. I think that is what the conversation should move to, rather than the number game of how much and what, because it's not like we've not seen mining there. There are residents and villagers who have been exposing so much, and the pending review is not a safeguard. It's saying a review is pending before the court cannot substitute for precautionary protection. So ecological damage is often irreversible by the time judicial clarity arrives, etc. So I think this itself is like I said, it's kind of an acceptance by the minister, and strangely there's no transparency, that even the maps are not public. There are no enforcement data. So all these things, I think we should be questioning on credibility concerns at this point.
Okay, Divan Singh, if you can hear me, we have to separate fact from fiction. So what is the fact and what is the fiction? What is the fact here?
See, fact is that let's look at Delhi first. because
Okay.
I'm based in Delhi, and we first raised a movement called Rij Bachao Andolan in Delhi in the year 2004-5, and before that, Citizens for Preservation of Quarries and Lakes Wilderness. We fought to save 690 acres of area next to IJ Airport, which is now Aravalli Biodiversity Park. Now, the fact is that as soon as you term Aravallis are only Aravallis if they're 100 meter and above, in Delhi, you don't have Aravallis then. Then there's no ridge in Delhi. Master plan becomes redundant because master plan says Aravalli needs to be protected. It's an important natural feature of the city. 7,777 hectares of ridge area is to be protected under the master plan. But then it's not Aravalli anymore. So what's the protection for? Now the Aravalli Biodiversity Park, which the citizens community fought to and managed to save in Vasant Vihar. Now that is that actually, as a matter of fact, it loses its tag called Aravalli. It's no more Aravalli. Well, it's not above 100 meters. There's no land formation of Aravalli in Delhi which is more than 100 meters. It's below that, much below that. It's less than 50 meters. So Delhi no more has Aravallis. This is the fact now because of this definition by the Supreme Court accepting it. So this is happening, same is happening throughout the entire range up to Gujarat. 90% of Aravalli is below 100 meters. So that loses its tag as Aravalli. I mean, you are defying nature, you are saying, hey, nature, you are no more nature.
Okay.
You found 2.5 billion years ago, we don't acknowledge that. You don't exist. It's like not acknowledging your mother. So I mean, that's a catastrophe they have created on the nature.
Okay.
And
Okay. So just to hold your thought, I'm also joined by Neelam Ahluwalia, who's founder member, People for Aravallis. Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for joining me. Am I audible to you, ma'am? Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. So, ma'am, we were saying what is fact and what is fiction. Minister said that in no ways the rule jeopardizes the ecological sensitivity or the ecological terrain of the Aravallis. Everything is protected. Your opening comments.
As a matter of fact, journalists have been calling since yesterday for our statement on what the minister said. We recently launched the Aravalli Virasat Jan Abhiyan, where a lot of rural people, urban people across the range have come together. And these are like people who are directly living in the lap of the Aravallis. So now it's actually his what the minister said and what the press release of the minister, of the BJP government said. There's a lot of contradiction there. So the minister is saying that there are 39 Aravalli districts, whereas the press release is saying that there are 37 Aravalli districts. The minister is saying that there is mining happening in 219 square kilometers, whereas the press release is saying 277. So between the ministry only, they've just ended up causing more confusion. And our very humble submission to the minister is that please clarify that what are the names of the Aravalli districts that they consider the Aravallis, and what is the exact number.
Okay. Mr. Singh, the moot point of the minister, which I understood, he's saying that misinformation is being spread, one. Mr. Divan Singh, misinformation is being spread. Second thing he said, people are twisting the facts.
See, people also know to read between the lines. I mean, people are not just fools. They can't understand what they're talking about. So people know it, that if you are only categorizing only 10% of Aravalli as Aravallis, then what for are you doing it? What was the need to do this? So once we go into understanding if there is some need, then the need is to open it for some real estate development, to open it to legalize the farmhouses being constructed all over the Aravallis, and also for mining. And just now, sometime back, we were all discussing about the mining thing. The mining legal permits are for a small area, for a small patch, but illegal mining happens all around it, taking advantage of the legal permit.